It is your boy Charlie here, and I can officially say for the first time, you are here live with all three hosts on the 2 count. So you've got Dave Duran chilling right above me. You've got Kyle Dorman on that side. Did I say it right this time?
Damn wrong.
Damn wrong. Okay, so I officially have fucked it up with him here. That's great. Anyway, so we've got me, Dave, and Kyle. I never have to say his last name again. Sitting here on this episode of the 2 count, and you officially have your 3 hosts together. So we're going to be filming a series of episodes today that will be launching over the next couple weeks. But we were actually having a quite passionate debate about something before we even took to camera. So there has been quite a prolific WWE athlete as of late. I would say prolific's the word, right?
Yeah.
By the name of Roman Reigns.
He's definitely prolific. He's out there every week.
Oh yeah, he's defending that title. Tijad. You've got such a large debate about Roman Reigns, and there's a very large portion of the internet community and the wrestling community as a whole that thinks Roman Reigns sucks, namely 35-year-old guys and above. And there's a very large portion of the wrestling community that happens to like Roman Reigns. So we had a little bit of a discussion about this as a trio, and all of us have very different opinions on Roman himself. So let's just throw this one out there as a group. Guys, what do you think of Roman Reigns? Who do you want to start? Kyle, Dave? We're not used to 3 of us here.
Go ahead.
Dave had a... Okay, I'll start. You know, I think the more I think about it, I'm of the opinion that he's not as bad as... I'm not, like, super into his matches, but he's not that bad. Like, let's be... I'm someone that thinks Cena is not bad either. I don't like what they shoved down, the shoving down the throat aspect of Cena. But in the ring, I've seen him do really good matches. So I don't fault the guy. Like, when he's a good opponent, like Punk or Daniel Bryan or something, they put on great matches. And the same as with Roman. Like, his matches with AJ, they were good. I can't knock those, and I know a lot of that's AJ. But it takes 2, because I've seen AJ have some stinkers lately with some other guys. But no, I don't think he's bad. I get why people are angry, though, and are kind of over. I do something different with his character, but as far as an actual wrestler, no, he doesn't suck.
David?
Where do I start with Roman Reigns, boys?
Live from 3,000 feet, Dave Durant.
Roman Reigns, what can I say? He's actually deserved a spot in the WWE. I will say this, he's there every fucking night. He's the number 1 heel and the number 1 baby face.
So was Cena.
Yeah, that's true.
But this is what I don't understand. This guy already has main evented 3 or 4 WrestleManias in a row with the same people.
Yep, Brock Lesnar.
Two with Brock.
One with Hunter.
1 with Hunter, 1 with Taker, 2 with Brock.
Yeah.
All right. So literally, like, the last 2 years, he's been fighting the same dude, the same storyline, the same way. Like, it's his character, only because creative involves him so much, is going to be the most hated character throughout the entire WWE. They involve him so much in everything. Like, we get it. You want to make him the next John Cena. You want to make him the face that runs the place. You want to make him your cash cow.
Yep.
But god damn it, dude. Look how over Elias is. Elias does not wrestle so much.
Ever.
Yeah.
But he comes I'm pretty sure that he's a great wrestler.
He's good. He's decent. He's not horrible. He's not great.
Is it?
Yeah.
And then you put him in these slots, right?
Right.
20-minute slots, 10-minute slots, and the guy is fucking over like Rover. Forget about it. Everyone loves him, and everyone doesn't get to see him that much because he's not on every Raw.
Well,
He doesn't have to be.
They've used him
He doesn't
sort
have to.
of almost as an enhancement to other segments, right? So basically, they just throw Elias at the front of it, let someone walk out and interrupt him. It's a great little avenue for them to get multiple talents into one segment.
And then this is what bothers me about Roman Reigns. He opens the show. Then there's a backstage interview with him. And then somewhere between mid-show, they're showing something that involves Roman Reigns in it. Or maybe a commercial or whatever the fuck. And then towards the second half of the, second hour or whatever, it's another Roman Reigns thing. Then the main event always has to end with Roman Reigns in it. Like, why can't the main event...
Is that his fault?
No. And let me
It's not his fault, but...
And let me ask you this question, Dave. I'm going to put it out there like this. If this was The Rock, and The Rock did an opening segment, and The Rock was featured mid-show, and The Rock was featured at the end, as he was in the Attitude Era, would you have a problem with it?
Yeah. I just don't like people basically being shoved down your throats. That's what it has felt with Roman Reigns. It's never his boos or his cheers don't come organically.
His cheers,
you understand what I'm saying?
Cheers do.
Like you genuinely, if he wins a WWE Championship, you're genuinely not going to cheer for him.
So I'm going to tell you and kind of lay it out for you in reverse with a couple of things that you both said. So looking at things from a television show standpoint, because as much as WWE is live events and it's everything else, it's a television show. And it's an ensemble cast, right?
It's a soap opera.
It's an ensemble cast. So, there's different talent that they're going to feature at different times. Roman Reigns, whether we like it or love it or dislike it or feel someone else should be in the spot, Roman Reigns is the star of the show, right? So
I get it.
So we can't hate on them for over-featuring him because that's like just running your star through the show. I think part of what you're really expressing an interest is, and I feel like this is wrestling psychology now, I think part of what you're really displeased about is WWE overexposes their content to begin with. You're getting 3 hours a week on Raw. You're getting 2 hours a week on SmackDown. You're getting an hour NXT. And God forbid you actually watch the indies. You're literally spending like 10 hours a week at some point watching wrestling.
Easily.
Look at what NXT does. NXT doesn't feature their stars every single episode. Maybe you get a 5-second clip from Tommaso Ciampa one week. Maybe he wrestles in a match 2 weeks later. But Ciampa's the star. You don't see him all the time. Same with Johnny Gargano. An absence makes the heart grow fonder. Vince McMahon is the only shows that Vince McMahon is in control of at this point are Raw and SmackDown. Triple H gets there's an overproduction of content, and that's why he protects his NXT wrestlers, and that's why they fail when they go to the main roster because maybe
they all fail. They all fail. Look at fucking Bobby Roode.
I wouldn't say they all fail because then you would have to say that Rollins failed. Ambrose failed, Reigns failed. All of these guys were on NXT.
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Again, that's what I'm saying. They have Rollins didn't fail, nor did Ambrose, nor did Reigns.
Yep. But
right now, the three biggest, hottest things that ever came upon in the last,
NXT,
I would say 6-7 years, were even after Nexus, it was a Shield. There was nothing else.
Yeah, no, there's been a lot. I actually wound up getting the NXT program guide, and if you look through it, basically every major star that's wrestling right now has come through NXT. We don't look at it that way because they've been ingrained in the program for so long at this point, but 2 out of the 3 of the members of the New Day were from NXT. Elias was from NXT. Finn Balor was from NXT, Shinsuke Nakamura, Samoa Joe, Bobby Roode, literally
Kevin Owens.
But this is the thing. Yeah, you bring them up to the show, but what do you do with them? You're not doing shit with Kevin Owens. You're not doing shit with Nakamura. You're not doing nothing with none of them. You're not doing even... Bobby Roode was on SmackDown. When he was on SmackDown, he was on TV every day. Every fucking day.
And we're going to have another episode going around the wire. So, guys, tune into some more episodes because we're going to discuss Bobby Roode in a little bit more detail. But I want to circle back to Roman Reigns for a second,
Going back to Roman, the only thing that I dislike about Roman Reigns, he's a great wrestler. I followed him since NXT, but what I don't like about Roman Reigns is the way that they book him. They need to see him in every championship match. He has to win every fucking match in the world. No, god damn it, nobody wants to see him win so much. Make him lose. Make him not even fight one night.
So,
just have him in the back doing whatever the fuck.
First thing I'll say about Roman Reigns is thank God that they changed his last name, right? God, Leake, so much better that it's Roman Reigns. I trace this whole Roman Reigns back to one particular moment, right? This is where the seed of hatred was planted. If you look at comments, I actually did this the other day. I was on Reddit, and I found a post where they were pulling up comments of people talking about Roman Reigns directly after the Shield broke, right? So this is the first time the Shield broke. Inexplicably, it was Rollins that turned. It worked out amazing. Everybody thought it was going to be Ambrose that turned, which is probably coming. But if you look at the comments on Roman Reigns at that point, everybody was so gung-ho about how awesome Roman Reigns was going to be. They were talking
yeah, but that was only, listen,
it's
the only
failure
reason why that was is because they first of all, listen, if you ask me, he was shoved down your throats in the Shield.
No, this is what I was trying to tell you. He wasn't shoved down your throat with the Shield. The Shield worked absolutely perfect. The Shield worked absolutely perfectly for one reason. You can't shove one person down your throat in a group to where their flaws are exploited. Ambrose was actually the mouthpiece of the Shield. He cut the most ridiculous promos. He was the one that people thought were going to be the big cheese coming out of the Shield, right? Roman was the guy. If you listen, what did you say?
Ambrose, I don't like that guy.
We'll have another debate about that later. Do me a favor. Go to YouTube and watch Jon Moxley, and then make that statement again.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah, his NXT thing.
But if you remember when
his ROH thing.
No, CZW. But when you watch him come up, right? If you look at what had really transpired, they let Ambrose be the mouthpiece. They let Rollins do the high spots, and then they let Reigns be the brute force, right? So you had a dynamic where you had this one guy on the microphone that was awesome. You had one guy that was awesome in the ring, and then you had one guy that literally was there just to powerbomb and spear people, right? And it worked, right? But what happened?
And Roman got over.
Roman got very over. Like, do you remember the Royal Rumble? Not the year that they started booing him, but the year before that when he made it to the final two. The crowd was going nuts wanting to win the Royal Rumble.
But that's what I'm saying, because that happened organically.
But,
you understand what I'm saying? He's not always in the chase of the title.
But here's where the change came from. But here's where the change
They put him in the chase because it did happen organically.
It did happen organically. There was one line they wrote for him that ruined it all. Do you guys remember the promo he cut where he called himself Superman?
Yeah.
He was like, I'm going to put my cape on and I'm going to be Superman or something. I forget the exact words of the promo. But at that moment, everyone flipped. It went from I love Roman to wow, they're really going to push this guy to the moon. And yes, they did push him to the moon. But whether they were going to push him to the moon or not, at that point on, the perception was this was the next guy and no one wanted him to be the next guy. But the question really is, who can really be the next guy, right? They like Roman Reigns
with this kind of creative.
No,
who can?
No, and they like Roman from a looks perspective because he looks like your traditional wrestler, and he's part of a dynasty, which adds a little bit of flavor to his personality as well. Look, end of the day, they really should just make him a badass that doesn't talk, strap him with Paul Heyman, and everybody would love him. But then what happens to the little girl?
That's what they should have done. That's what they should have done now.
But that's what.
When he beat the title.
But then he's going to be loved, and he's supposed to be hated if they put him with Heyman. So you can't win.
But he's not, Heyman. Listen, Brock Lesnar wasn't even being cheered that much as much as Paul Heyman was.
Oh, Paul Heyman's.
You understand what I'm saying?
Genius. But the point
this is the thing,
Dave. The point is, if you go ahead and you flip him, right? And you turn him that badass that all us 35-year-old men, 30-year-old men that still watch the product want him to be, who we want to see him develop into as a character. All of those little girls that are buying his T-shirts right now, all of those little boys that want to be Roman Reigns, they're going to be like, oh my God, my hero just turned. Look at when Bret Hart flipped to anti-America back in the 90s. You're going to isolate an entire part of your fandom.
But this is what I'm saying. They don't have to do that hard. Oh, I'm a heel now. Turn. Come on, they've done it before.
But it's WWE. They don't know how to not turn someone full heel. You're either a bitch, coward, or a face. There's no in between.
Yeah, they've lost a lot of the creative abilities they used to have.
The first tweener that they've created in years is on accident. It's because Becky Lynch, no one wanted to boo her, even though she was bad.
She is,
yeah. So that's the first tweener they've created in years. But the reality is the wrestling industry should all be tweeners. There's morally gray. There is no good and bad. There's only situations. So
exactly.
So Roman is in a really tough spot because here's a guy that AJ Styles said is one of the best people he's ever been in a ring with. And for me, I'm sorry, gold, stamped. AJ Styles said he loves working with you. This is a guy who's one of the best performers in the world.
No.
That's what won me over.
They wouldn't tell AJ to say that shit. AJ has no reason to say that.
AJ, listen, that guy, I'm not saying he's a bad wrestler. By all means, I'm not saying that. He's an okay wrestler. He's a decent wrestler. He can hang. If he's in there with a good wrestler, he's going to give you a great match.
Yep.
If he's in there with a not good wrestler, then
it's going to be brutal.
It's going to be a shit show. It's all going to be him. And then this is the thing with Roman. I'm just tired of the same Superman punch, the same spear. His matches were so repetitive. Every match that he has, nothing changes.
Did you ever know what WWE does once they come to the main roster from an in-ring style perspective? There's
tell you to give your 5 moves ready, and that's what you get.
From an in-move style perspective, it's kick, punch. You have 5 moves from a safety standpoint. Break out a couple more from when there's a big match or something. They let certain guys like AJ Styles or Finn Balor or some of the smaller guys be a little more creative just to make themselves more believable. But
even then, they still really have the 5 moves.
Why do you think Nakamura versus Styles was a flop the first time? Because everybody was so hyped to see what they saw in New Japan, but they couldn't do it there. So basically, you're taking a guy and hating on him because people have written shit scripts for him. They've taken away his entire moveset or ability to do a moveset, and they've put him in a position where he can't go either way because he's going to isolate one part of the fan base. How do you really get that?
Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that I don't like Roman Reigns. I like what he stands for. I like that, he's there every day. He's what we needed Brock Lesnar to be. Okay?
Yep.
He's a great wrestler. I don't have nothing against him. I just hate the situation that he's in. Because he's now where Cena is. Is that in between that everyone loves him and everyone hates him.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
There's a lot of parallels with Cena. I'm thinking, I remember WrestleMania 20 when Cena wins the U.S. title from the Big Show, and they just kind of turned him face after his heel rapper thing,
that was
and
pretty
he was
amazing.
over.
Oh, he was over until the end of the Chain Gang. Chain Gang, the second he busted it off and turned into G.I. Cena, where he was like a guy that was in the military.
That's where it ruined it.
That's what ruined it.
The dang Marine movie. It's that dang Marine.
It was that dang Marine movie. Thankfully, it didn't flip the Miz. It just made him more awesome.
Yeah, it added to his character.
It did. I'm a movie star. I'm the A-lister. Yeah, okay.
But this is the thing. This is the thing. It suited that kid so much because the movie actually sucked. And everyone thinks that The Miz sucks. But The Miz is so great,
Miz is one of the best in WWE.
Oh, my God,
Can hang in the ring. Best on the microphone. He's earned his spot, 150%.
So are we closing this Roman Reigns chapter out? What?
I'm going to give you an in-closing on Roman Reigns, and I think I'm going to summarize what we've all said pretty closely.
Yeah, and I think you and I are pretty on the same page on that one, Charlie.
100%. Roman is not to blame for where Roman is. I think a very large portion of the internet community hates on Roman Reigns. I don't know. Do you guys watch JD from New York?
No.
Okay.
Oh, no, I have once or twice. I have before.
He's a very angry man.
Yes.
I watch him quite often, and he's actually created an entire T-shirt line on a barbershop window of anti-Roman Reigns T-shirts. Because he's like, oh, I'm a fanboy, I'm a mark, I'm doing the typical JD voice. First off, I'm from New York. We don't sound like this, and you don't have to make this accent. Second of all, I'm going to put it to you guys very, very clearly. If you're sitting here claiming to be educated on wrestling, that means you look at the thing objectively, you don't look at it subjectively. And this guy is literally putting himself in going, I'm tired of Roman Reigns! Yes, we're all tired of the constant main events, of the constant over pushes. But that doesn't mean you don't appreciate programming for what it is. I'm not going to tell you to stop watching if you're a wrestling fan because, focus on another part of the show. There's 3 hours. Sit through Roman's jargon, finish up your emails, look at your cell phone for 10 seconds, and wait till you get to Elias. Wait till you get to Rollins. Wait till you get to Balor. But to sit there and constantly complain about something that's not going to change is just ridiculous.
Exactly.
I show my support to Roman Reigns in that I appreciate that the guy's busting his ass and putting himself out there week after week, like I appreciate every wrestler. And hopefully, all we can hope for is that someone, at some point, unlike Cena, who I have the same appreciation for, that they change his storyline. If they don't, okay, I'll just keep enjoying New Japan more. That's all it'll come down to.
Exactly.
Roman's not on SmackDown, and that's been a little bit lackluster too. So you can't really.
Don't get me started on SmackDown.
So
we'll talk about it a little later.
I only steal the first part from Kenny Omega as I sign off. So I bid you guys adieu. This is Charlie, Kyle, and Dave signing off for this video. Stay tuned to the channel. And lastly, I really implore of you to subscribe. We've got some amazing videos coming. I keep telling you, got some fantastic
Follow
interviews.
us, damn it. Follow us.
Give us a follow. Look out for your boys. We're going to be taking care of you with some amazing content coming soon. Have a great night, guys.